Well, the very interesting thing for us about the Leiden singles actually is that they are part of the whole city of Leiden, that the city itself is an archetypal example of settlement, that it has a very clear boundary situation. The boundary is defined by the Single Canal, which encircles the whole city, and that you always arrive into the city using a bridge. That's quite particular to Leiden. And that at the centre of Leiden is the Burg, an old Motte and Bailey castle, and that together this very defined gathering place in the centre and this clear boundary give Leiden a very strong, coherent structure. Well, we feel that although fundamentally Leiden has a very strong structure, part of the problem with the recent developments is that they're not unified by a coherent idea. And so what we recognised is that because Leiden has a reputation for being a Renaissance city that's very strongly connected to the Hortus Botanicus in Leiden, we recognise the potential for Leiden to develop towards a botanical city. We've called this idea the Garden of Leiden. So that our project is about discovering the Garden of Leiden, which somehow already exists, not only in the structure of the city, but also in the culture of the city and the very spontaneous way that people seem to live here. We're quite fascinated by the gardens without boundaries, the way that residents, the people of Leiden, have developed in more or less every street corner an improvised garden. And for us, this is a sign of the vitality and the life of the city, which could be promoted and developed. Well, perhaps the most important step to make, something that could be realised quite quickly, is to help the people of Leiden and the people investing in the development of Leiden to recognise the potential of their own city, to recognise the potential that already exists, and by introducing the idea of the Garden of Leiden to help to transform people's perceptions of what already exists, and that identity will then provide a very coherent framework for the ongoing development of different parts of the city, especially the development of the Singelpark, which, as the boundary, the border of this botanical city, is perhaps the most important part of it. We think the priority is the development of a very strong border around the city, transforming what is the outer ring road of the Single into a promenade, an urban promenade, a place for generous walking and cycling, people with their families to use as a recreational route, and to allow navigation and movement around the city to happen outside, so that if you want to enter into the city and explore the many small gardens and places around the Single, along the Single Canal, then you do this by crossing over a bridge. So establishing the Single Promenade is a priority, and at the same time introducing people to the idea of the Garden of Leiden through perhaps an exhibition. And we've suggested that the Burg becomes the location of a temporary exhibition, perhaps a city model of the Garden of Leiden, which helps people to understand that this is a long-term project, perhaps a 50-year project, and that the changes and developments that will take place in the city can be modelled in this central place, that everybody is welcome to come and understand the idea and also feel that they're taking part in it.